I have been married to my wife for 11 years and together for 14. We have a beautiful 7-year-old daughter, and our marriage has been great without any major problems until last year. Last year, I learned that my wife cheated on me before our marriage. One of her friends became religious and confessed her actions to me, which had me confront my wife. She was shocked that I learnt it and apologized profusely about her actions. However, she said it's not something important now because we have been going strong and have a family together. She told me I should come to terms with it since it happened 4 months into being exclusive, and she was a stupid girl out of college back then. My mind told me the same. It happened 14 years ago, and we are happy right now. I decided to forgive her and continue our usual life. Reality was not that great. My mind took a big hit. I realized it's not something that happened 14 years ago for me. The cheating happened for me when my wife confirmed it. I was less confident and could not make love with my wife. I just could not get an erection for her. This turned into feeling disgusted being around her. I even took a DNA and STD test secretly. Thankfully, our daughter is mine, and I am clear of STD. Then a year of intense individual therapy started for me. I realized I needed to change somehow. I was not the same person I used to be. I also communicated my feelings to my wife, and after pushing a bit, we started going to couples counseling too. However, at the end of everything, I decided to proceed with divorce. Here are my reasonings. She not only cheated back then, but lied to me for 14 years. She did not confess the action herself. Even though she apologized, she dismissed the fact by saying it's not important anymore. Young me was robbed of having a choice. Cheating was, and still is, one of the biggest deal breakers for me. If I knew it back then, I would have broken it off. I am happy with my life, and I am glad that our daughter came into the world. She is the light that shines the brightest for me. One of the biggest reasons I keep living, but I still was robbed of a choice back then. IC and MC could not understand our problems and my feelings towards her. It also started affecting family life, which could affect our daughter. I think our daughter would be better off having us as co-parents, instead of living in a broken family environment where consistent arguments are present. Bed life is basically dead for me. We do make love, but I feel like those women on film series that just lay and look at the ceiling, waiting for it to be over. The only difference is that I am a man. I don't even want non-sensual gestures anymore. Last week, I had a sit-down with my wife and explained everything I wrote here in detail, my feelings, reasoning, and some other private things. I have been talking to a lawyer for the last month, and papers are almost finalized, 50-50 custody, 50-50 assets sharing, and as amicable as possible. I explained everything thoroughly and clearly to her. She freaked out and had a panic attack. We spent the night at the emergency room. She is begging me to reconsider and not throw away 14 years. However, even though I would like to stay, it will result in us being roommates and a broken family environment for our daughter. Am I in the wrong here? Comment somebody said, this isn't about being an asshole or not. You're not able to deal with something, and it has changed your view of someone. Somebody said, that's the thing. Original poster has tried everything they can to make it work. He didn't throw his hands up and walk out. He tried. He really tried. But you can't make yourself have emotions you don't have, nor can you let go of ones you're currently feeling. There's no right or wrong here. Another commenter, this isn't an asshole or not question. You aren't able to love her the way you did before. You no longer trust her. Your relationship is dysfunctional. Therapy didn't help. Calling you or her. After all, she's the cheater, and butthole will solve absolutely nothing. All you can do now is to make the separation as smooth as possible for your daughter. A commenter said, someone else wrote this in a thread months ago, and I still remember it. The affair happened 14 years ago for you. It just happened for me. Like she's had 14 years to process and lie about it, and then to just let it go. For original poster, this just happened. He's still dealing with all of it. And not just the affair, but the 14 years of lying by omission too. It's brand new to him. Original poster replied, it happened on a girls' trip they went together. It was confirmed by my wife. Her friend told me she could not hold the secret of a sin anymore, and decided to confess. About 4 months into being exclusive couple, girlfriend, and boyfriend. So it's not before being boyfriend-girlfriend. Paper is basically an agreement with blank sections, including custody, asset sharing, and other marital things. I proposed my side to her, and she is free to consult with a lawyer to propose her side. Both sides meet and come to an agreement. Then this agreement is proposed to a family court in case of amicable divorce to get appointment for the court case. I let her know beforehand that I am considering divorce and getting the draft agreement ready, so she should also consult with a lawyer. Another commenter asked, "How's your wife dealing with all of this? Has the anger presented itself yet, or is she still in denial?" Original poster replied, "She has barely eaten since the emergency room visit and is still in denial." Update, 1 day later. Firstly, I want to thank everyone for their ideas and input about my situation. Some people reached out to me on Reddit chat to state their opinions, and we had long talks. They have been incredibly helpful, and I want to thank them especially. Some people asked if we went to counseling together. Yes, we have been visiting a counselor for over a year now, on top of my individual therapy. I understand blowing up a marriage for something that happened 14 years ago is not logical. However, my feelings towards my wife got even worse after counseling and therapy. It started with not being able to trust her, converted to not wanting making love, then not wanting non-sensual gestures, and finally, I'm not even comfortable to be in the same space as her. We have been less than roommates in the last couple of months. I do not hate or resent her, but I just cannot shake off the feelings. I would say I forgave her, but it's not about forgiving anymore when there are no feelings and love. I do not want my daughter to grow up in such an environment. I know how hurtful it can be. I experienced a similar situation with my parents, only the genders reversed. Living in such an environment breaks you as a child and teen. I would have much preferred if my mother just divorced my dad instead of staying for my sake. That being said, I had a long talk with my wife this morning. She has not been eating much since visiting the emergency room, and I am concerned for her well-being and safety. Some Redditors who reached out suggested considering separation before proceeding with the divorce and see if my feelings would change. That is very logical, actually. I proposed this idea to my wife, and she was happy to hear it. I have an upcoming business trip to the Netherlands next week, and I am planning to extend my stay and stay with my sister once I am back. Wife abruptly suggested one-sided open marriage, and I can do what I want on that business trip if it'll save the relationship, make us even, and change my feelings. I rejected it because it has nothing to do with that. Even if it changed something for me, it would devastate her knowing I cheated on her in the future. It's not something easy to get over, and not an easy decision. That is all the update. We'll try separation for a while, and depending on the result, I'll make my decision. Thank you for all the help and opinions. Comments. It's telling how quickly, just because you stood up for yourself, she went from telling and what feels like dictating to sudden panic attacks and begging instead. Would it have been different if she had gone straight to begging and contrition earlier? Avoid falling for her self-abuse charade, which is intended to make you feel sorry for her. It's an attempt at manipulation. I understand, blowing up a marriage for something happened 14 years ago is not logical. It is absolutely logical. As you said it yourself, it didn't happen 14 years ago. The lies continued up to the present day. Update 2, 1 month later, I have a short update about the situation. I got back from the trip and decided to divorce my wife in the end. The last straw was when my daughter told me I looked more lively and happier after I came back. I realized I am better off without my wife and just co-parenting our daughter with her. I still feel incredibly uncomfortable around my wife. My wife did not take the news well and is going down the spiral. I called mother-in-law and father-in-law to have them take care of her. She caused some problems. She sent threatening messages to her friend who told me about the cheating. I had to beg her to not sue my wife, as I want my daughter to have a mother present in her life. Though, she'll probably be taken to a mental ward. She is not well. Last time I saw her, I felt scared looking at her eyes. Our daughter is with me now, and we've started the divorce process. My lawyer told me if my wife is to be taken to a mental ward, there is a good chance that I can get better than 50-50 custody. One should be happy hearing that, but I am just devastated how it'll affect our daughter. Many Redditors said in the comments that dating life after your 30s as a man is not good, and I'll be probably forever alone as no one will want me. First thing is, I do not care. Our daughter is my first priority, and dating is the last thing I have in mind right now. Second thing is, I am confident in myself in every regard to finding friends and a partner. I think this sums up my update. I will be back maybe in a year, considering how long divorce process takes when it's not amicable. Thank you. Comments. I'm going to say it. A man in his 30s that takes care of his look and looks healthy sometimes is way more attractive than any boy in his 20s that's just beginning to understand how life works. I hope it works for you. I've come from a family when my mom cheated my dad with his brother, and then he cheated back with her cousin. Believe me, no child deserves to be raised in a family like that. Your daughter is better with only one parent that's calm than with two belligerent parents that decided to stay together for the sake of kids. Your life won't end by now. I would leave my husband too if I'd find out he cheated on me when we were just beginning as a couple. Cheating has no expire date. I hope you get better and find happiness. Update 3. 2 months later. It's been almost 2 months since my last update. People have been asking about an update, and here is one. My soon-to-be ex-wife is doing much better. As far as I know, she is on antidepressants right now and started her own therapy. Also, she has a good support system around her, so she is fine. Our daughter was with me most of the time, and we spent a lot of quality time together. We have been taking her to a therapist too. She is taking the separation much better than we expected. She is into drawing/painting, and we have been practicing together. She has won first place award in a local competition in her age group, and I am super proud of her. As smart as always. For the divorce, my wife agreed to an amicable divorce. We gave the documents to the local family court, and will have the court seeing next month as scheduled. 50-50 financial assets, and 50-50, 80-20 at first custody. She wanted to see our daughter only on weekends until she is in a better place. After that, we'll convert to 50-50. It's more desirable for me, to be honest. I want to give our daughter equal time with her mother. I am staying at our house currently. I'll buy the share of my wife from her, and she'll stay with her parents for now. They are very close to our house, so it's good. My wife is planning to rent a separate place around the same area in the future. Time is passing and life is going on somehow. I am also in a much better place mentally and emotionally. I am on amicable terms with my wife, and as long as we are not living together, I do not feel uncomfortable as I did in the past. Not much drama, just life being life, and everything finding its own place with time. Background. My dad has always had control and anger issues. He worked hard to give my mom, brother, and I what we needed, but he was not really emotionally there. Growing up with him was tough. If I vacuumed and did not do it exactly how he would do it, he would make comments. If you did something wrong once, he would immediately say you never do anything right. Could not fathom that people make mistakes and mistakes happen, especially since he made plenty of them, just never admitted to it. He had friends and relatives live with us without ever asking my mom, brother, or I if we would be okay with it. Not asking my mom, who is the person that ends up taking on the additional work, was the most annoying thing for me. We lived in a 2-bedroom apartment. I was okay sharing a room with my brother. Not quite okay sharing it with an uncle for years, another relative, and once even some random guy who was a friend of a friend. He sacrificed the comfort of me, my mom, and my brother to make himself look good by offering space to these people for long periods of time. Think years, not days. Plenty more examples of his selfish and controlling behavior, not to mention him having a short fuse. Despite all this, he did work hard, had his moments, and I will always appreciate the things he did do. We had everything we needed. First son goes no contact. A couple of summers ago, my dad and I got into an argument. The argument was over me and my wife's dog. My dad is a very religious Muslim and has gotten more religious as he ages. For example, He took down all of the pictures they had of people, as you are not supposed to have that in Islam. He still listens to music though, so I don't want to get started on the hypocrisy displayed on a regular basis by him and the Muslim community I grew up in general. Islam is not a fan of dogs being in a home. My wife and I do not live with my parents. We have our own home, and I told my parents my wife and I would be keeping the dog she had before we got into a relationship. I love this dog. I thought I got it through to my dad that the dog was here to stay. I even got an imam to talk to him about it. He brought it up again one day while he was over at our house and asked when we were getting rid of the dog. I tell him we aren't, and he needs to stop asking about it. This started a big argument between me and him. He went home, and I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. When he got home, my brother was there. He told my brother the story, and my brother told him he was wrong to make demands of my wife and I. My dad got into an argument with my brother. It got close to being physical, so my brother left. My brother at the time had his phone service under my parents' family plan. My dad canceled his number, so I had to call the phone company. I have access since I'm the one who usually manages issues for him. My dad would then cancel the service again. Being real petty, I eventually just added my brother to my phone plan. After this incident, my brother went no contact with both of our parents. This was the last straw for him. He went no contact with our mom because she is an enabler. That requires a different post. To this day, my dad still does not understand why my brother is no longer in contact with him. I understood my brother's decision and have not tried to change his mind. I stayed in contact with my dad, but low contact. Second, son goes no contact. Now to a couple of weeks ago, my dad and I once again got into an argument. My wife and I have a newborn. I was so excited for my parents to have their first grandchild. As much of an ass my dad is and has been, I've seen how well he interacts with my little cousins, and I incorrectly thought being a grandparent may mellow him down. I figured there would be some disagreements, as a lot of grandparents think since they raised kids, they know exactly what to do. Even if they raised those kids more than 25 years ago. Unfortunately, his controlling ways and anger issues reared their ugly head in a bad way. We were over at my parents so they could see my newborn son, and because two of my cousins were visiting to see my newborn son as well. Things went fine until my wife and I were getting ready to leave. My son was being a bit fussy as we were putting him into the car seat. That happens. Babies get fussy and cry a bit. Once we get the car seat in the car and get going, he normally calms down. If he didn't, we would just give him a bottle, as he was probably hungry. We had already changed and burped him at this point. My dad starts saying we should give him gripe water. I tell my dad that the baby is fine, just being a bit fussy. My dad insists again, so I tell him I'm not giving him gripe water. We asked our pediatrician about it, and our pediatrician said to hold off on gripe water since our baby was still pretty small. Our son was born almost 3 weeks early and is very small, so we are being cautious. We also don't want to give him anything besides breast milk and formula if it's not really necessary, which it was not in this case. This sets my dad off. He goes off about what the heck do doctors know? He raised 2 kids. He gave my brother gripe water when he was 2 days old. That is obviously crap, because he didn't even know about gripe water until he visited one of his friends and they told him about it. Not only that, but my brother was born late and at a normal weight. His situation is not the same as my son's. My dad then does his usual thing of taking one issue, escalating it, and going off about everything. He goes on to say, don't come around anymore, even with the baby. Calls me a kafir, my wife a kafir, and my son a kafir. This is an Islamic insult. My mom is trying to calm him down because he is yelling all of these things 2 feet next to me and the car seat my son is in. My teenage cousins are also hearing all this. At this point, my wife has taken our son out of the apartment and into the hall. I am trying to leave as well, but my dad continues to yell. He has now moved on to how we have not given him a cent. How he got us educated and put us through college for us to never give him anything back. How we basically don't do crap for him, and some other things I don't recall exactly. Just a lot of horse crap. I have paid for my parents' cable.internet bill for the past more than 12 years, even though I have not lived with them for years. I just recently paid for their tickets, which was about $2,800 to go to our home country, and have paid for other random things like ordering them pizza when my cousins are over their house and my mom does not feel like cooking. He says he got us educated, but he did crap like telling us he'd pay for our college and then telling us after a semester that he wouldn't, basically leaving us in the middle of a semester scrambling. He told my brother he would only pay if he agreed to marry a woman from our country. Understand if he does not want to pay, but tell us that before we decide on a school so we can make an informed decision. He still brags to his friends that he put us through school though. He says we never do crap for him, even though both of my parents come to me for legal, tax, finance, tech, and basically any issue. Keeping a tally of what you've done for your kids and throwing it in their face is crap, especially when you've basically done a little above the bare minimum. After taking his yelling right in my face, I left and have not spoken to him since. Told my mom we are not speaking to him and he is not seeing us anymore. If he gets some therapy and anger management, maybe we can see what happens. He has to make a change though. Of course, the last time I spoke to my mom, she told me he'd been crying. As usual, he is the victim. Here's to hoping I don't continue this cycle. Some comments below. Develop a diamond spine, my friend. Stick up for yourself and your new family. Your father has no respect for either. Do not let him back into your life until he learns. You deserve to be spoken to with kindness and respect. Your father does not seem capable of that right now. Wish you well. Original poster replied, I do. That's why the arguments happen. If he got his head out of his ass, he'd realize how good he has it. Both my brother and I have good jobs. I'm married to a great person, and we were seeing my parents on a regular basis while helping with whatever. He could retire right now, and he'd be fine to spend his time fishing, going to the mosque, going around visiting friends, family, and spending time with his grandson. He could just work part-time and do that. Instead of enjoying the things he has, he's stuck on what hasn't happened, and us not listening and living our lives exactly how he wants. Somebody said, he sounds like he does need therapy, but knowing that he's probably from the older generation, he won't. My dads are the same. Control and anger. For your wife and child's sake, and your own. Of course, going no contact with your dad is the best option. I've had to do it. It's not easy, but it's better than the anger, control, and abuse that comes with having them in your life. Would you accept this behavior from anyone else? Probably not. And that's how many parents like him get away with never evolving, changing, or maturing. You've your own life to lead. Do it with people who add positivity to you and your family's lives. Original poster replied, you are right. He won't. When the stuff happened with my brother, I tried to find a therapist that is ethnically from where we are and had no real luck. That's an issue in itself. I reached out to a couple of the local mosques to see if they could help, and they did. Jack crap. Figured it was more likely he'd listen to and talk to an imam over a therapist. Said they'd get back to me and nothing. One commenter asked, wow, she's really kind of caught in the middle, isn't she? Is she safe? An original poster replied, she is safe, but frankly, if I had it my way, she'd be living with me. However, that won't work for a few different reasons, which include that she would never actually leave my dad. I am just hoping we can get some of her siblings here soon so that she has a family close by she can go to whenever she wants. We have been waiting years for her siblings and their families to get visas. COVID really freaked it up as they got approved for interviews right when COVID hit. I've submitted letters from her doctors and even got someone from our governor's office to reach out to the immigration office to see if we can expedite, and that hasn't done anything besides getting the same response to keep waiting. Right now, all I can do is stay in touch with her and talk to her on a regular basis, while also sending her a steady stream of pictures and videos of her grandson. My wife and I also see her once a week, either visiting when my dad is at work, or I go and pick her up to hang out at our place.